Well, I've got 5 games loaded up. I will bring up the deck list at the end of the video as always. And this is the Edric deck. These were, as I recall, interesting games, not just quickies, but we'll see. My opponent's playing Zuri, and he's playing first. So he leads off with a mana elf, which is exactly what you want in a elf deck, I would imagine. Into Wood Elf's Arbor, and I get Arbor Elf, and I decide pass instead of Arbor Elf Sylvan, or instead of making the Edric play. I'm anticipating slowing him down here and drawing a card, and look at that, Earthcraft shows up, so we'll see if that's any good for this game. It has been my experience that this card is completely absurd. This is 2 mana what Sylvan Library is 2 cards. Even if you don't get the infinite creature combo, if you just get craft and the rest of the deck's contents, so far for me it's been just totally insane. So anyway, this turn I get down with Tezzeret. Fetch myself an orb since I've got an Arbor Elf and a Sylvan to deal with it. His only creature is Findhorn, and I stuck him with that card in his hand. Of course I know that Tezzeret's going to die. So, also, Winter Orb Earthcraft is rather good times. So, I just play the craft, take some damage, and I'm able to play Hive Master, who is 1 less, effectively, and then an Edric, who only costs 1 mana because of craft, since I can double pump the island at this point. So my opponent is able to ramp like crazy and set himself up for a pretty good turn next turn. But let's take a look. So craft does what it does, and I'm able to go get a map for Gaia's Cradle. Cradle then produces a billion mana with Strange Hermit, who basically, thanks to Earthcraft, will produce 6 mana for the cost of 5, well, the cost of a Cradle. So, pump out a bunch of mana and bribery him to see what's going on over there before I continue with my turn. And these are the options I have. Not much. No big, expensive, randomly placed, Trastodons or anything. So to all these, I'm not sure what you get, but I will show you what I selected. A 1 casting cost creature. My opponent tells me the card I want isn't in there. Little does he know that Wirewood Symbiote produces mana, lots of it. Thanks to the craft, I am able to... I didn't even tap my Hinterland Harbor yet. So now, I produce 6 more mana. And down comes Jace to prevent him from hurting me with Azuri. And I've still got some mana, so why not play a Sylvan Library too? And then finally I'll pass the turn, ensuring that I can craft my island, untap my Cradle for my turn, and Arbor Elf the Trop next turn. However, he's able to kill Cradle, so remove that one. And then on his turn he does all this. He does some crazy stuff with his Jar, potentially, except his mana is pretty well suppressed. Interestingly here, if I had 1 more creature, I would actually be able to play counterspells from my hand. I don't, though. So he, however, casts a Llanowar Elf, which produces a creature which produces a mana, thanks to Earthcraft. And so, I'm able to craft, tap his, counter his touch. And if he did nothing else, I would actually still would have had mana, because I could have picked up Deranged Hermit at the end of his turn in order to untap one of my creatures, who could potentially block and then craft the island further. Totally insane game, completely over the fact that I generated like 15 or more mana off of Earthcraft. 2 mana investment, 15 mana returned. Totally nuts. So, game 2, I'm playing against GG Valo there. JG Valo, and he's playing Thada. I have the mulligan. Excuse me. So I decided to keep this hand, I think. No, I mulligan triple. Quadruple mulligan into a 4-land Winter Orb hand. 3-land Winter Orb hand. Seems pretty terrible. Sorry, I played this game yesterday. So I had kind of forgot how it played out. But thanks to going first, so I'm able to get Edric down. I swing in for a card and then top deck a snap. So I snap his guy and then Winter Orb him and say go. He can't replay his creature just yet. So thanks to some card drawing, I'm able to get down this way. He plays Thada and I steal Thada, floating a mana, and attempt to play my sword and attack. Sword, equip, attack, untap all my stuff. He gives up. So it's pretty awesome for a mulligan to just 3 cards to come back from that and command the game so quickly. So here's a game where I'm playing against Kiki Jiki, and I have the play, perfectly keepable hand, of course. So down Elf, Signet, Mox, Edric, I think. Draw, go level up. Right. So I was thinking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more mana, I could have just Terrastodon right there if I would have really wanted to. Instead, I play the bite and attack. This way, if he's got removal, if he's got single target removal like Incinerator, Lightning Bolt or something, if I would have played my commander and attacked, he'd have just bolted the commander. I would have hit him for 2 pointless damage. But by playing Biden here, he has to have artifact removal, which is unlikely since I had these cards in play and he didn't kill them. He did nothing with his mana. So this way, if he has single target removal, he kills a guy, but I'm still drawing a card. So I get in with Biden and draw 2. And he plays an O-Stone. So end of turn I fetch an Arbor. So I can play my commander, and now, I can potentially draw up to 6 cards this turn. But I have plans, so I don't do that. So instead I just draw 4, and play Pod, sacking commander, fetching Glenelendra. So this way, if it turns out that he has, like, say, Lance Soul Ring or Ancient Tomb or something, and he blows the Oblivion Stone, or maybe even one of the red rituals, I'm going to be left with 3 lands in this hand and a Glenelendra. Actually, excuse me, 4 lands and a Glenelendra. And since my commander is 5 mana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I could actually just start drawing cards right off the bat if I chose at that point. But he doesn't have it, so he's doomed. So this turn I just play Hive Master, and I drew Craft, and Earthcraft means I'm going to produce like 1,000,000 mana this turn, so he's definitely in bad shape. And let's just see how well it does for me. So I craft it into a Finhorn Elves using my Arbor, because it's plus 1 mana. I spent 1 mana in order to get 2, thanks to the Craft and Hive Master interaction. So I start producing additional mana and play Tezzeret in order to untap Pod and Mox, and then craft the Glen into Deranged Hermit, which will now spend 1 mana in order to produce 6. So from here, I'm able to cast a Rayo, and I believe I'm going to attack at some point. Oh, right. So I'm crafting first. Okay, and I just decided to go for it. Fair enough. So I decided not to swing. I'm not entirely sure what I was doing there, but yeah, I play Terastodon, and my opponent just gives up. I think what I was planning to do is play Terastodon, kill his lands, and then using Bident, I was going to tell him to attack with the elephants so that I could then trade Terastodon for an elephant, and then on my turn just swing in and draw an absurd number of cards with all the mana that I had from Craft, potentially, that there was just no coming back from that. So anyway, so this game I'm playing against Progenitus, so hard to say exactly what he could be doing, but I don't like my hand, so I mulligan many times into this, and although I don't like it, it has 2 mana in its hand if I want it, or some search, so I decided I'm going to keep this. And I draw Bident, so if I can get a second mana and be able to play Edric, then I'm feeling pretty good. I cannot Bident Mox because it's non-artifact, even though it's a blue card, unfortunately. Other than that, though, I'm okay with how this is playing out. So I go ahead and just use a Brainstorm to see, if I draw spells, I can Mox with them, and if I was hoping to draw a spell and a land, so that I'd play land, Mox, Edric, go, and then next turn, hopefully, Bident. But this is what I get. So I set myself up, and he floats up a Visions. On turn 3 I go Edric, and this turn's like rather critical. And I draw Jite, so down comes Bident, and I swing in for 2 cards, hoping he doesn't have Condemn. He doesn't, but he's got a Plow, so no 2 cards for me. So this turn I go ahead and play Raphael's Jite, and he plays Urabrask the Hidden, and for some crazy reason swings. And that right there is what we call a mistake. So I Jite up, and thanks to the fact that I don't have to replay my commander, I can still draw cards here. Go ahead and draw. Now the irony, of course, is that I have this Mox in my hand, and I cannot draw a colored spell, a non-artifact spell. So anyway, I draw and finally get a command tower, and I'm able to play the artifact in my hand. So now he's up to 7 cards in hand, 8 actually at one point in this turn, and all these different mana sources, plus that Urabrask. So I figured, I mulligan to 3 and one of them's a Mox, and it's probably not going to go too well for me this game, but plays Fertilid. So I put Sword of Fire Ice on Raphaelos, and then just Jite off the Fertilid, since he cannot block with Urabrask there. And go find myself 2 cards this time, thanks to Bident's Sword, dealing 2 to Urabrask and removing 2 counters to kill it immediately. So now I'm able to Chrome Mox the Wirewood Hivemaster, as I've finally found a colored spell. Play my Arbor, which is, again, like just another one of those turns where I need Arbor to... I need to play a 0 casting cost green creature, and luckily I have one. Either a Sacklander or an Arbor would have done there, but I absolutely needed a 0 casting cost green creature, so I wasn't going to kill Raphaelos at this point. So anyway, and I actually considered briefly Drainage Tournament here, due to the Bident and the fact that Edric could pop out, but Treston's definitely the right call. Command Tower, Simic, and Swamp gives me the combination which kills both of his green sources and both of his black sources, and pegs him down a blue, so he doesn't have Cryptic. So I go that route. I considered the other option would have been Command Tower, Foundry, Fountain. I would have taken out his white, but I think taking out green in a deck that's running stuff like Fertilid and who knows what other kind of green search, and black, since black is one of the colors that could easily kill Terastodon, that seemed to make a lot of sense to me. This is risky in some sense because Wrath of God, but I think I actually recover from that. Okay, if he has it. I can't, unfortunately, activate Bident and force him to slam an elephant into my larger elephant this turn. He's got Greaves that don't matter. But I draw a Tomb, so I equip up Drast and get down with an Edric. I'm going to go ahead and just move the Jite over. Cross my fingers as there's no Condemn again. Always got to do that, it seems like. Still a mana shy of activating Bident, but Not too bad of a situation to be in. In fact, it's so good that my opponent concedes. I don't activate Biden too often. Usually it's just there for the amazing first ability. But on occasion, the second ability comes into play, and then it has come into play where my opponent's been forced to alpha strike into either killing his guys or just alpha striking and allowing me to attack back and kill him. So anyway, this is definitely a keeper. 2 totally absurd green enchantments and some stuff. One nice thing too is Scrib's ability combines with Earthcraft. Scrib with no other creature. You tap Scrib for mana and then you untap Scrib and tap Scrib for mana again if you want to. So I was trying to figure out exactly what of the 3 broken cards in my hand, well 2.5, do I play. Scrib's about a half broken. And I go with the most powerful one. Sylvan gives me the most options. I don't really know what's going on there with Mind Shrieker, but I'm just going to kind of ignore it for now. So I go ahead and just pay life, even though I probably could have just shuffled those off with Delta. And decide that the play for me, and I misplay like how I was going to do the mana. So what I needed to do is tap the island and then tap the island, and as you can see I have 1 mana left, and if Scrib could untap a land I would have 2 mana left. So if I had to tap slightly differently, if I tapped the island for Soul Ring, then tap for 2, 3, 4, I would have played Scrib Craft. So this was just a bad play in a sense. I didn't use my mana correctly. So just Merchant Scroll, and there really weren't a lot of options here. Like Mystical Tutor is usually the right card here, or maybe Mana Drain. But I didn't want to force a will with a Mana Drain. And if I get Mystical Tutor, he's got a Mind Shrieker, so for 2 mana he can basically counterspell it. I could have got like some bounce. So I decide bounce is cool. I'll get Rift, and I have Rift now, and I'll force with it, no problem for tempo. Otherwise, I can just hang on to it and steal tempo with it later by casting it. So either way is good. So anyway, I draw 3 here. Take them all. 2 awesome. Able to Trinket for Mox this time. Mox my forest. I actually probably should have got Crypt, but that's okay. I figured since I'm Sylvaning and I'm already at 23, I'd go Mox. So I play this. 2 mana to play. Actually 0 mana to play now, thanks to having creatures. Actually it produces 1 mana because of Scrib. So I play my commander. And what's weird about it is it doesn't look like it, but I actually have a counter. I can actually cast Mana Leak. So if you had a counter spell here, I just craft my land and then tap it for mana and then pick up one of my other forests or whatever, untap, say Scrib, tap this for mana, or Scrib using craft, and then tap for a second mana, and then Mana Leak his spell. This is so weird. Like this card is just, I'm like completely like geeking out on this card because it is hardcore ridiculous in this deck. So he plays Frightful Delusion. I could have countered it, but the right play here probably was tap this Scrib for mana, and then yeah, that's so weird. Tap the Scrib for mana, and then untap it. Or actually, you know what the right play here was? Untap the Trinket Mage, picking up a land, and just tap the Trinket Mage for mana, and then just pay the 1 and throw away the land. Most likely that probably would have been right. Instead I do this, I tap for mana here, and then just throw away a leak instead of a land, which seems a bit foolish, but so it goes. And I attack him into Spellpierce, which I can cast. So I go ahead and just preemptively untap my island. He's got some junk. He has to hit me with a zombie for this to do anything, so I just leave it alone. And pay some life, and not for the other forest though. Fetching up Trop, which is an additional forest for Scrib, and try to figure out how best to spend my mana this turn. So see what happens. Now what's interesting here is Elvish Mystic and any other mana creature that costs 1 mana is free with Earthcraft. If I get the Insect Maker, then these guys are actually -1. These guys are actually +1 mana when you cast them. But even without that, they're free. If I have Cradle, they're +1 also, of course, with Craft and Cradle. And if you have Craft, Cradle, Insect, then casting a Mystic actually produces 3 mana, which is kind of nuts. So, anyway. So, before attacking, I just craft up some mana and make a sword, and then using Scrib, I equip said sword, and then I mash him for 2 cards and double pumping my mana. Now, I actually, for some reason I was thinking I could still use Scrib. I was going to tap for 3, untap my lands, tap for 3, Scrib for the 7th land during combat, and then Rift him. But you'll see, of course, I've already used Scrib, so I'm like, oops, okay, whatever, I'm done. He swings back, and I thought about untapping a guy and just trading it off here, but I didn't really want to pick up too many lands since I have like double sword pumping. I figured what I'd do is I'll just let him hit me and get some guys. Then on my turn, when I attack, I'll float 4 mana, untap all my lands, float 4 mana, untap all my lands. With the 8 mana I can Rift, and if he has anything to say about it, I'll have 1 mana floating, float 4 more, Force of Will, hard cast. If he still has something to say about it, tap the Mox and Spell Pierce it. So I figured, okay, in that case, he can just have some zombies and do his Mind Shrieker thing, and if it gets too big for some reason, I would just Rift it. But turns out he just hits Jite, Tutor, Raman, Bite It, and no creatures. So he doesn't get anything. So I put a bird on top, just because, and try to spend my mana before combat. He's only 1 to cast now. So instead I'm going to kind of like move my swords over, because I'd like to be able to untap the Scrib, and you can't. This is the only thing that sucks. Sword on a Scrib means he's pro-green, so he can't target himself with his own ability. That's why I didn't surprise block one of his guys last turn, if you were wondering. So, anyways, about to draw. Gonna draw 4 cards and double pump swords and do all kinds of nasty stuff. So he gives up. But I mean, how sick is this card? It's so good that I have put Squirrel Nest in the deck, which is only kind of, it's okay. It's actually an okay card. You can double pump it with Arbor Elf for Garrick. You can eat things with Skull Clamp. You've got opposition. You've got all this equipment, Gaia's Cradles. You get Natural Order to use it with. You actually can produce 2/2s with Deranged Hermit, or 3/3s if you clone it. It's okay, but because Earthcraft is like completely insane, and this is okay, I'm actually playing both now because I'm willing to play a card that's pretty good, and in order to combo with a card that's extremely good, because when I get the 2 together, I randomly just win the game. It's kind of like Earthcraft is like land tax, and Squirrel Nest is like Scroll Rack. Scroll Rack's not so good unless you have like shuffle effects or your hand, a decent sized hand. Land tax is crazy good, produces tons of mana. Whenever it procs, you're generating tons of mana. But if you put the 2 together, you win the game. Basically, I've never put those 2 cards together and not failed to win a game. Or failed to win a game rather. But same thing here. Nestcraft is infinite guys. Probably going to win that one. But even without it, they seem pretty good. So seems custom made, especially for Edric, since you've got refill aplenty, and you just want more abuse. So I hope you enjoyed those games. It's definitely a long video, but I thought about 5 minutes a game for explanations was worth it. They were fun to make, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching.